With wings of feather and leather, this fan-favorite cleric has wreaked havoc on playgroups with her righteous fury and unholy abilities. This is Kaalia of the Vast. Kaalia the Vast has been causing chaos at tables for years now, since her initial first printing back in 2011. Costing only one colorless, one white, one black, and one red, Kaalia's power comes not from her damage, but rather through her triggered ability. Let's be honest here though, if you're watching this, it's most likely her ability that piqued your interest. After all, it is pretty much the defining feature as to why you'd choose this cleric over any other choices offered by the Mardu colors. Her triggered ability reads, whenever Kaalia the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. Please note that this ability triggers before the end of the Declare Attacker's phase, so any relevant triggers must be resolved prior to the Declare Blocker step. Basically, Kaalia acts as a pseudo-elvish piper or a free Quicksilver amulet, provided you get to swing with her. Kaalia is probably one of the few EDH decks where you want to have a handful of 8-drops by turn 4. So now that we've gone over what she does, let's look at some good cards that'll help her do it, or be used by her. For creatures, you're going to want to play things with the relevant creature types. That means angels, demons, and dragons. Angel of Despair can be an incredible early play, destroying mana-ramping artifacts or even setting people back a turn by killing their lands. She's a very versatile answer, and even having to pay her cost to get her trigger is still worth it. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, is another great angel to consider running. Her price tag can be a bit steep, but her ability to make everything you control indestructible can be incredible when you follow up your second main phase with an Armageddon. Moving on to some dragons, Balefire Dragon can often be a board wipe for free when used in conjunction with Kaalia. One good hit and you can set an opponent's creature base reeling back to turn 1. Utvara Hellkite doesn't have a cool enter the battlefield effects, but he does like you playing a heavier focused dragon-based Kaalia. You miss out on the first triggered ability when you play him though, but if opponents don't kill this dragon quickly, his tokens will quickly end the game. Making a deal with a demon can often have unavoidable consequences, but their often high cost to benefit ratio is usually exceptional. Runescarred Demon is one such creature, but his demonic tutor trigger often justifies its inclusion in most black EDH decks. This is doubly so for Kaalia, since you don't even have to pay the cost to get the tutor. This last demon is one I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him at least, which is Master of Cruelties. Enabling Kaalia to win seemingly out of nowhere, this demon is the bane of many people who play against the deck. If I know my opponent's playing Kaalia, I will always save a removal spell just for him. His life reduction ability triggers before Kaalia hits, dropping an opponent down to 1 life before Kaalia comes crashing in to finish the job. Since we're not running green, we're going to want as many mana rocks as we can justify in this deck. Our goal is to get Kaalia out as quickly as possible and start swinging. They'll also double when she gets removed, making her easier to cast again. You'll also want to protect her, so Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots should be included. Also, to a similar extent, Darksteel Plate and Champion's Helm should make their way into the 99. Additional artifacts to consider are the Swords of Blank cycle. In particular, Sword of Light and Shadow, which allows us to return creature cards from our graveyard to our hand. Typically, most lists online will have the normal bevy of enchantments in Kaalia, ranging from cards that pump her to ones that give her more draw or more reach. However, one of the most interesting cards I've seen running in Kaalia deck is Reconnaissance. Allowing us to remove our creatures from combat for free while still getting her trigger can be huge. Maze of Ith functions similarly, but forces us to be more careful when choosing who to save. This allows us to do it with whatever we want. I'd lump Phyrexian Arena and Necropotence together, not in terms of power, but mostly that they allow life to be paid for more cards. Necropotence is clearly the superior choice when the two are compared, but players should be careful playing it when there's a potential Mindslaver. Stranglehold, also a card from the early Commander sets, is a great addition. It allows us to deny our opponents extra turns and tutoring for answers to stop Kaalia. Lastly, Dragon Tempest is a fun new card from Dragons of Tarkir. Not only does it give Kaalia haste, it can give all of those lovely dragons we play some extra value just for coming into play. Not a bad deal with all things considered. We're playing white and black, so I think it's safe to say that you can expect to see Swords to Plowshares, Doomblade, Go for the Throat, and Path to Exile pop up in more than just one list. I would also strongly advocate running Utter End, the more expensive and more restrictive younger brother of Vindicate. it can give us a few more answers to troublesome permanents that we wouldn't normally be able to deal with. Kaalia is a combat-centric commander. Since her ability is triggered only through her attacking, we're going to want to play spells that allow us to have multiple instances of combat. To this end, we should consider Relentless Assault, Savage Beating, Fury of the Horde, and most certainly Waves of Aggression for the deck. Kaalia also has a love and hate relationship with Armageddon. She loves it, all of your opponents hate it. It can be a great game ender since Kaalia requires no mana to trigger her ability once she's on the field. You'll also want to run a Board Wiper too, which black and white have a massive selection to choose from. For Planeswalkers, Tibalt does incredible work for this deck. Just kidding. Joking aside, Liliana Vess and Ob Nixilis Reignited can be interesting additions, acting as sorcery speed vampiric tutor or an additional Phyrexian Arena, respectively. I've also seen a few Ajani Vengeance make the cut. I've never tried him, but I'd wager most people use him mostly to prevent troublesome things from untapping or as an additional Armageddon. Well gang, I hope you enjoyed this video on everyone's favorite Oros, Dega, Mardu commander to hate on. I've certainly been on the receiving end of her trigger far too many times to consider her measly 2 power and 2 toughness unthreatening. Let me know what you think of the new format of these videos, and until next time, thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.